Hi everyone, my name is Katie Copeland.
And I'm Austin Hunt.
Today we will be presenting on the topic of the Spiral Health Scanning Kiosk, and Austin's going to tell us a little bit about how she found out about it.
Yeah, so my mom works for this company in Wyoming called High West, and they came to know some of the people that work at Spiral Health, and they have been trying to get one of these scanning kiosks to High West so their employees can take advantage of it. And so my mom's been just keeping me updated on all of it, and so we decided to look into it more.
So you're probably wondering what this is. So it is a non-invasive piece of scanning technology. It has features that include postural analysis. It does body measurements, like measuring thigh circumferences and differences between sides of the body, for example, and also body composition.
Chronic pain in America affects roughly 100 million, costing us nearly $700 million per year.
Metabolic syndrome is characterized by what we call abdominal obesity, or obesity that is predominant in the belly area. Up to 30% of our population in the United States has metabolic syndrome. If you intervene early enough, you can prevent the progression to diabetes. And using technology like the spiral scanner, we can easily and non-invasively track changes in response to certain interventions with our patients.
What if you could get a 360-degree view of your health in just 4 seconds? What if there was a new form of imaging that was non-invasive, no radiation, at a fraction of the cost? We collect about 350 anthropometric measurements to provide low-cost, high-volume health screenings that are highly impactful for improved risk screening, as well as an engagement tool to empower populations with their data.
Imagine the ability to see what a physical therapist can see with their own eyes and their own medical treatment, to see that image firsthand and have a computer or an algorithm tell you that a person's high risk for injury well before it actually happens.
Anytime you can show somebody an image of themselves, whether it's certain numbers, or in this case, 3D image and all the metrics, they respond to that.
You'll see how your shoulders lean back over the hips.
The biospecimen collection that you guys have, combined with sort of phenotypic anthropometric assessments that we'll get through Spiral, could potentially be very powerful.
90% of all the chronic diseases U.S. citizens have, we brought it on ourselves. Through either not doing the things we need to do or doing things we shouldn't do. We haven't innately, as a society, been educated how to take care of ourselves really. I would love to see people take care of themselves, and raising awareness and implementing that value. That's what brings about true health and well-being.
I've never had a scan, so I wanted to see where I was at. And I have to have them every so often, so I need to stay on top of them.
Like, boom, you're just standing there, that's it, you're done.
I want to find out what is wrong with me, and if there's some way of knowing that it's not wrong with me.
We can help them through this assessment to better gauge where they're at, and then also help them alleviate this pain and prolong the use of their body.
I, as a physician, am always trying to hold up a mirror to a patient and say, I want you to see what I see. If you can see what I see, then you can change it.
My dream is to use emerging digital technologies to help people live pain-free, productive lives, and that's what we're doing at Spiral Therapy.
So Spencer Stein, now the COO of the company, actually went through a paragliding accident, and he ended up having a spinal cord injury that kept him from walking, and so he had to go through the process of therapy and trying to figure out how to walk again and just be healthy and get back to his active lifestyle. And he had a very unpleasant experience with his post-accident treatment. And so he came up with this idea of a new piece of technology that could basically help patients have better access to health care and also decrease the cost of it. And now it has been designed to use in rural areas where patients don't have access to physical therapists and hospitals and other healthcare providers as easily. And it's also for underserved populations.
All right, everybody. So you're probably wondering about the deets. So I'm just going to kind of summarize this slide. Although it's still kind of in its early stages, this piece of technology is designed to be low cost, and it's also a quick way to provide a lot of detail that the human eye might have trouble identifying or measuring. And it also helps to identify body imbalances with those measurements and identify certain diseases you may be at risk for based on the information it gathers. And also, it's good for tracking progress because you can do more than one scan. So after an initial consultation, an exercise intervention, and education, you can do another scan and kind of track your progress.
So like we've already said, it's a non-invasive, non-radiation technology. And so it uses structured light. And what that means is that the light that is being projected deforms to the object that it hits. And when it hits that object, it calculates the depth and surface information. And that's what they can use to gain all this information about the body. It uses both optical and infrared light. And during this whole process, it captures 3 million data points, which then goes around and turns that into over 100 body measurements.
Does it cost? Nope, it's free. We talked to a representative at Wyoming Health Fairs, and they said that it's free to anyone. Although we are kind of unsure if it costs at facilities like healthcare clinics, though.
We had the unique opportunity of actually being able to follow my mom's experience through this whole process. So she had a scan done at High West Energy, and then she was able to see those results on her Spiral Health Wellness account, which we'll go into more detail later. And then she had a consultation with a trainer, which we also were able to sit in on. And the exercises she got were from the scanner, but also her trainer changed some things and added some things and added more detail as he saw fit. And then you can have follow-up scans to track your progress and see how you're doing.
Okay, everyone, so here's an example of a Spiral Health Wellness report that you would see after you would log into your profile. So there's different tabs that we're going to go through, and they are body shape, posture, an action plan, and measurements. So if you look at the video, you will initially see your 3D scan of your body, and you might see some metrics like BMI and stuff. And then there's also some diseases you may be at risk for. If you click on one, it'll tell you a little bit more about it, give you some education there, and things to prevent these diseases. Also heart disease as well. Just kind of gives you more information about how it calculated that. And then you'll see more measurements here, like circumference of the waist. Okay. And if you go to the posture tab, you'll see things that are identified, like a forward head, things to look out for there in your posture. It also gives a posture score, the pain score if you put it in there. And if you go to action plan, it gives the list of exercises it suggests for you, which can be adjusted with the therapist over the consultation. But you can click on one and it tells you a little bit about it, what it helps, and how to do it, and how much to do it. Just a whole list there. And the fourth tab is measurements, and it gives a whole list of a bunch of measurements it took. Like I said, hip circumference, calf circumference, all of that, which may be cool to see differences between your sides. And then you go to your profile, and this is kind of what you initially figure or type up, I guess. Your name and your gender and all of that, height and weight. So it's pretty cool and convenient and easy to use.
So now after someone's had a scan and they look at their profile, they have a consultation with someone. The one that we sat in on was done with a postural alignment specialist, and he basically did the normal stuff, asked the general questions, got a history on my mom's, any pain my mom has had, or what her goals are, physical activity, and all the stuff that we would normally do with an initial eval. And then he went over the scan. You can do an interpretation and explain the scan and answer any questions that the patient may have, and then really go into education, and you can adjust the exercises as you see fit. So the Spiro Health Scanner is thought to be able to be used for anyone and everyone who wants to have an active role in their health. And it's also used in a lot of companies and workplaces to help prevent common injuries and pain that come along with that career, whether it's sitting at a desk or anything. For example, High West is an energy co-op, and linemen, as in men who work on power lines, often do not make it to retirement age due to the occupational injuries that they have from working overhead. But a lot of it is preventable. So Spiro Health is working with a lot of large companies that have a wellness program or want to have a wellness program and want to prevent the work-related pain and injuries and have a need for that.
So some things to consider. People may be wondering about devices that they may have, like insulin pumps or pacemakers, but we know that because this technology is non-invasive and it's non-radiation, that these are not contraindicated, so they are safe to use during the scan. The only thing you may consider is that it may interfere with the measurements it takes at this moment because it's still kind of in its early stages and they're still trying to work out the kinks of the technology, but they should work for a scan. You might also want to keep it in a space that has consistent light, so kind of avoid windows. And you will want to consider the patient height. Currently, the kiosk is not tall enough to fit someone taller than 6'7", but they're still working on it. Alright, so some pros with the scanner is that it can be a good general screening tool for anyone, especially when used with rural communities or lower income populations. It can give very detailed measurements. So for example, if it's measuring calf circumference bilaterally, it can compare both sides and perhaps pick up on atrophy that may have occurred. It's a portable device, so you can take it to healthcare facilities or health fairs, things like that. It's very quick and convenient, and with the profile that you make, it's very easy to access your results and your exercises and kind of keep up with those and educate yourself on those. So like I said, it is educational. For example, identifying an apple versus a pear body shape. The apple body shape puts you more at risk for cardiovascular disease. And also, it's more of a proactive approach to healthcare versus a reactive approach, so prevention is key.
So now the cons. Not all therapists are for this. Some therapists think that this is meant to take over our career and replace us, but I guess it just depends on how you look at it and how you want to use it. Limited on only static postural analysis. We all know that movement gives us a lot of information, and especially if you aren't there in person, you can't really see that information as well. Even on a Zoom call, it's kind of hard to see all the details that you need to see. And it is still in the early stages. So like we've discussed, there's misinterpretations that can occur, and that's why they're trying to get a lot of information and a lot of scans done to see what they need to change, what will really work to make it be the best it can be. The online profile requires access to a computer, which not everyone does, and there is less hands-on interaction with therapists, and we all know that the hands-on stuff is very important in more cases than not. And it could cloud the view of health status, making it look more negative. You know, we know that not everything that looks bad is bad. You know, it could look bad on a scan or something when it really isn't causing the pain or anything. So that's where we need to come in and be able to tell what things need to be addressed and stuff. And I think that's, I mean, it is open access to a lot of people, so they might not have that interaction with a therapist or a trainer or anything that can educate them on that. So hopefully someday it'll be able to analyze movement so we can have a better idea of the function of the patient instead of just a static image. And hopefully it'll be able to look at devices so patients with wheelchairs and crutches and canes can go in there and get an idea with that device to figure out what is going on, if there's any suggestions. And also maybe there will be a way that pacemakers and insulin pumps won't interfere with the scan. And hopefully it'll be a useful tool and not a replacement. I believe this will be a lot of what comes of it and where this device is used for. There is always a need and place for manual therapy, as we know. It's very important. And it could enhance telehealth. We're in a world right now where telehealth is becoming much more popular. So it could be used for that, to be able to enhance the therapy that we can give.
Thank you so much for watching this, and if you have any questions, let us know.